classes a day, and I got this. Look, I'm telling you right now, it's just different. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Here's a place that we advocate for disability inclusion and spread awareness to make the world just a little bit better. My name is Janelle, and a quick visual description of me is that I am wearing this kind of salmon-y pink tie-dye-ish shirt. I have a mic on me. Usually I have it down here, but we're testing it here today. And the background is that I'm here in my room. Today I want to go over disability tips with going to college or going back to college and things like that. If you're wanting tips more for elementary, middle, or high school level, I have a video on that that you can go check out. Yes, over here. Going to college is an entirely different experience than elementary, middle, or high school already. You add a disability into that, it's like, whoa. So I will be giving you some tips and talking about some tips and things to do, things to maybe consider in your journey with going to college with a disability. If there are things that you need that are for accommodations, the number one thing you're going to do is to go to the Disability Services Office. Some people may call it like Accessibility Services Office, accommodations, just something in there. Each school should have one. If your college or university does not have one, that's an issue, because they all should have one. And it's just an office where you can go. You have to register to say, hey, I'm a student with a disability or multiple disabilities, and I need accommodations. And then once you register, they'll have you in their system, and from there, then you're able to request some accommodations that you may need in class. Now, the accommodations that you'll be getting, if you already have like a 504 from like high school, that you can bring that and show them like, hey, these are some accommodations I had in school that worked out. They'll honor that. If you had an IEP and had like special education services, they don't honor that because there's no really like special education in college, but you can still try to utilize some accommodations and use them and have, that support. Some examples of some accommodations that people have used in college are things like priority registration to create a schedule that meets your needs, recording of class lectures, note takers that are there in the class with you, audiobooks or other readings, enlarged text, interpreters, captioning, extended time on tests and assignments, alternative testing procedures, limited distraction, using a calculator, using a laptop or computer in the classroom. I don't know why, but some professors literally are like, no computers, why? I don't understand. But those are just some examples of some things people have used that are, beneficial for you to be able to do what you need to in class. If you're going to college for the first time, congrats, and know that it is not like high school. I don't know why so many teachers in school will say, you need to do this, that, and the other, because they're not going to let you get away with that in college. You don't got to raise your hand to go to the bathroom. You can just get up and go. You can walk out if you want and not come back. Like, the teacher might say, like, the professor might say, excuse me, where are you going? And you just say, I have an emergency, or I have something I need to handle, personal situation just came up. And they don't care. Like, they're going to be like, okay. Literally could not do that in high school. But in college, they don't care. Teachers will say, in like high school, you can't eat in class. They don't care in college. Some teachers do, but some professors do, but it's far and few between. A lot of professors are like, whatever. Some professors are like, if you're going to bring food, you bring me some. Like, they don't care. If you are worried about, like, getting a good spot for school, let's just say you need like a seat in the front or whatever, that could be part of your accommodations, because I know that you pick your own seats in school or in college. Like, you pick your own seats, you just sit wherever you want, and it kind of becomes like your unassigned assigned seat because it's just where you prefer to sit. And of course, everybody's trying to rush to get a good spot the first couple times to solidify it, but if you need a seat in the front to see the interpreter or whatever, like, that can be put in your accommodations that you need, part of the services that you need for college. If you're living on campus, when it comes to like roommates and stuff, and if you're trying to like figure out just a new roommate, like do I tell them about my condition if it's something that's kind of like a hidden disability. Disclosure is always interesting. I did do a video on that about the pros and cons of disclosing and the pros and cons of not disclosing. And then I also did another video on tips on how to disclose. So you can watch both of those in the card, or I'll put the links to them down in the description if you're just wanting kind of a more expanded view on it. My advice would be, if you are, to just probably do it early in the semester so that your roommate knows. For example, me in college, thankfully my roommate knew me from high school. Like, we went to the same high school, so she already knew that I had tics. At the time it was Tourette syndrome. It wasn't diagnosed, but I figured it was Tourette syndrome. So she already knew about that, but it was just important because if she was studying and I was having like vocal tics, like I didn't want to distract her, and I didn't want her to think it was me doing it on purpose. Like, this is involuntary. I wish I could be quiet too. So yeah, it's important, I think, if you want to disclose, and if you're going to disclose, do that pretty early on. The next tip I would have is, if you're watching this earlier, you're not in college yet, or you're still trying to figure it out. I'm learning and I'm realizing that the things that are like very typical, like you like this, I don't know what you call it. You're supposed to. You go to school, you go to college, you get a job, you find somebody, you get married, you have kids. Like, people are doing different things, and that's okay. So, even though the norm is just going to like a 4-year college, getting a bachelor's degree, and moving on to grad school if you want, or working, you don't have to do that. Like, if you need to take a break, do that. If you want to do like a community college first, that's like closer, smaller, local, and then transfer your credits, do that. But yeah, do that. If it's more like a technical school or something, you want to go to learn how to do be an electrician, be a plumber, be a CNA, like, do that. That's okay. If you need to take a break, do that. I remember in school, I got so much conflicting advice. But people would be like, oh, take a break if you need to, your mental health is so important, you need to take a break. But then other people would be like, no, don't take a break, because then you're not going to want to go back, because then you're so used to the break, blah, blah, blah. Just do what you think is best for you. If you don't know, that's okay, but don't base your entire decision on what the most recent person you talked to said about it, because you'll be swinging back and forth and confused on what to do. Also, don't try to go into college taking 12 hours is full time. Like, you don't need to do 12 hours. If that's a lot, that's fine. You think in your head, you think about school. You're like, listen, like 2 classes a day or 3 classes a day, and I got this. Look, I'm telling you right now, it's just different. Those 8 a.m. classes hit different in college than in high school. I don't know what it is, but you're not going to want to go. Now, of course, if that's the only option, you have to go. But if you can avoid it, because it's just not worth it. It's not worth it. Especially if you already don't like getting up. It's not worth it. Things are just different. Like, things just hit different. So don't feel the need to, well, I'm used to that. Or 12. If you just need to do 9 hours, that's fine. Like, it's okay. Don't try to do no 12, 15, 18 hours. Take your time. Another great tip is to self-advocate / be in communication with your professors. Honestly, the professors are just looking for open and honest communication. If you can go to their office hours and explain stuff, cool. If you can email them, cool. Hopefully they look at their emails. Sometimes they don't. But if you are, just able to self-advocate, if you already have certain accommodations with you in the classroom, like, an interpreter, having like a laptop when others can't, or whatever, that's cool. But also just being an open and honest, like, as much as you're comfortable with your professor, and just saying, hey, been a rough week, disability wise, but I still want to do the work. I still want to blah blah blah. Things are just taking me 3 times as long as they normally do. Can I get an extension? And like, as bad as that may feel, like, oh, can I please, like, it's open honest communication. Compare then it's like, well, that's a 0. And you're like, what the heck? You should just communicate with them and just say, hey, it's taking me a lot longer than planned, disability wise. Can I get an extension? 4 out of 5 times, just like dentists approve of toothpaste or whatever that commercial is, they will be understanding. You can always go to ratemyprofessor.com. I think .com, and if you go to like public universities or something, then they have ratings there and everything about the kind of professor they are, communication styles, tests, all that. So that's a good tip as well. I don't know if there's anything like new nowadays. I know there's like a fishbowl app. I think that's for jobs. So anyways, also the disability services might also have like tutoring, so take advantage of that if you need it. Being your own self-advocate, it might, if it's something that you're like not used to, it might be kind of like ooh, but it's good in the long run. And then I think even with that, having like a positive outlook, or as positive as possible outlook on your disability. Like if you have ADHD and things are taking you longer, you're forgetting this, that, and the other, like, yeah, that might be what people see as like your weaknesses, but there's like strengths to ADHD too. Like when you're hyper focused in on what you're doing, can't nobody stop you. And that's not something every student has, So if you're able to like also see your strengths and communicate that when you're self-advocating, I think that's good as well for professors and for, stuff like that. I also hope that you get great classmates when you have to do group work stuff, because sometimes classmates can be not really participating or understanding or annoying, but that's kind of where some of the self-advocacy comes in. You can even, I remember, shout out to my friend Caitlin if she's watching this. We were in college and she was like, my grade is lower than I want it to be. And she approached my teacher and said, can I do an extra credit project on what we're talking about to get a higher grade? And our teacher was like, bet. And she did. And she, was like, who wants to join? I was like, why not? And we performed a song. We literally brought our instruments to class and performed a song for a normal psych class on schizophrenia, because she communicated with the teacher. So just do what you gotta do to get that grade. Do what you gotta do to learn that material, and just be open and honest in communicating and advocate for what you need. The last tip I have is mostly more like time management, is to develop good time management skills, which is also why I said if you can't, sit there and do 15 hours, please don't, because you have to just go at your own pace. And when everything is coming down at the same time, everybody's trying to, all the classes are trying to have you finish up projects at the same time and study for tests at the same time in finals. It's stressful. It's stressful whether you're disabled or not. And so it's important to try to, have good time management skills and use tools that are best for you in getting what you need to get done. If you like see other people at the disability office, and like as you go there for accommodations and stuff, if you see other people, when you see them around campus, like try to say hi, make friends. Maybe you can exchange some tips you've had on helping you complete assignments or studying or different things like that. And you might be different majors and doing completely different things, but you might find some accommodations or some ideas on how you study and stuff beneficial as well. Quizlet would be your best friend. I don't know if that's still a thing, so I've been out of college for a little bit, but Quizlet came in clutch. Check that out. Helps you out. Some teachers use some materials from there, and if that's the work they want to do to present, then who are you to not use your resources and go find stuff and help you as a guideline? So go check that out. Well, if you want. Of course, now everybody's using ChatGPT because it was Quizlet, but I don't know. They're starting to like crack down on that more for like writing stuff, so don't do that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are the tips I have. If you have any specific questions or anything, go ahead and type those down in the comments. I'd be happy to answer. I'd love to see, what you thought, your input, what you got out of it. And if you are still looking for information on disclosure, pros and cons, or ideas. Like I said, that'll be down in the link below, as well as disability, going back to school, disability tips for elementary, middle, and high school. And yeah, please share with somebody to help make the world just a little bit brighter. Thanks, guys. Shine bright.